Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Winning Ways and day 8 of the 12 days of forgiveness. I am so inspired by what you all have been sharing and how these little nuggets from my journey of forgiveness and all that I've learned and compiled over the years is being a blessing to you. Well, here's day 8. And day 8, I want to deal with an aspect of forgiveness uh, that concerns a lot of people in the journey, concerned me as well. And I'm still learning to look at it as I evolve, all right, in the way in which the Lord wants me to look at it. And it is the forgetting part. The forgetting part. Now, before I get into that, because I really want to read an excerpt from my first book where I talk about that, I want you to get to it. Yep, get to it. Comment, comment, comment. These algorithms are just responsive to engagement. So whether you're on the YouTube side or the Facebook side, if you would comment, that would be so helpful, as well as sharing. Sharing is also a way of engagement. And certainly, if you are on the YouTube side, I would love for you to consider subscribing as I am working to grow the audience on that side of the internet. Well, I'm reading from a page from my first book, Conversations with the King. Within that book is a chapter called Forgiveness is Not an Option. And I'm just going to read a short excerpt or two short excerpts here. Okay. Forgiveness and forgetfulness are cut from the same, should say, cloth, but it doesn't. Okay. To forgive is to let go of all resentment and ill will towards a person and the offense committed by the person towards us. Forgetting is not becoming amnesiac, but rather it is relinquishment of unhealthy feelings and attitudes regarding our offenders and ourselves. Amnesia is a gap in our loss of one's memory due to shock, fatigue, brain injury. What did I have here? Repression or illness. Divine forgetfulness, on the other hand, involves intentional disregard of an offense and ceases to notice, give attention to, or remember the offense. All right. And finally, this part down here, I want to get on here. Choosing how we remember an offense can either make us sick or whole. Therefore, follow through on each of these qualities is a preventive measure against enslavement to unsavory memories. Unsavory memories. I often hear, and I've dealt with myself, that whole aspect of I just can't forget it. We won't. And I don't want to encourage anyone to say, try to forget it, try to forget it. Your mind is not going to let you forget it. The mind does what the mind does. The brain does what the brain does. It just regurgitates and remembers. Unless it was so traumatic and injurious, and your brain, from my understanding too, works to save and protect us, it will try to hide that thing that is traumatic and can hurt us internally. However, those of us who are not going through that type of traumatic brain uh, injury or damage, the mind will continuously replay. It is up to us with the will that we have and intentionality that we have, whether we are going to give credence and power to those thoughts. We may not be able to wipe them out, but what we can do is manage them. And choose how to think of them. As we evolve and grow in the forgiveness process, one of the things that we and one of the things that we encounter and find ourselves developing in, for those who choose to grow and become healed in the areas of offenses, whether to oneself or from others, is that we manage our thoughts. And we manage our thoughts in several ways. And one is looking at who we are and saying who we are and knowing what I talked about earlier, the grace that we've been given, and moving forward, knowing that we've done what we have the power to do to correct some things and to move forward. We're not responsible for how people decide they want to um interpret what we've done and how they want to see us. We're not responsible for that when we are working to make ourselves better. So, managing our thoughts pulls in all of these things to remember who and whose we are, what we are doing, how life could be worse, all kind of things. And when I talk to my clients one on one, we nail down some specifics just for the person, but we need to choose how we want to remember it. You know, I I mentioned this the other night. We admit, we acknowledge, this is what happened. I did that, or that was done to me. It hurt. Feel the feelings. This is what happened. I went through it. I didn't like it, you know. But we acknowledge those things, but we don't stay there with those things. There should be a progression of, yes, that happened at some point, and I am not in a place to tell you how long that should be. But at some point, we graduate to, yes, that happened, and now I am in a different place. I remember someone ran into me at a conference years ago who shared a very similar situation that I had dealt with. And we briefly talked, and I'll never forget the one thing that she said to me. She said, "Are you on the other side of it?" And I had to say to myself, though I knew I had progressed, I really wasn't on the other side of it. So as we are growing, our intention should be on the other side of it, whatever that it is, that type of offense. We should be moving to be on the other side of it. And we don't ignore what has happened by acting like it didn't happen, burying our head in the sand. We acknowledge that it happened and we manage how we think about it. We don't lie, we don't pretend. We manage how we remember that offense, how we see it. Do we give too much attention to it? It's all about moving forward. And I've learned, okay, you want to keep popping up? I'm going to drag you with me. I'm moving forward and I'm going to drag you with me, because each time I take an inch, a foot, further, a mile down the road, and you're still here, guess what I'm saying? Hey, you can come up in my imagination all you want, but look at where I am now. I am not where I was when that incident happened. It could have been a year ago, a month ago, 5 years, 10 years ago. All right, you want to pop up? But that was 10 years ago. And look at all what the Lord has done in me and through me since then. So I want to leave with you to choose how you remember the offense. Because the bottom line is, you want to reach a place of wholeness. All right. And that comes again from the chapter, Forgiveness is Not an Option, from book one, which is entitled Conversations with the King. All right. So it's all, when we hear, I can't forget, you're right. You can't. So how do you choose to remember it? So how do you choose to remember it? Do you choose to remember yourself as a victim? Do you choose to remember it as, being a vengeful person? How are you going to allow those thoughts to mold you? Are you going to be consumed by them and allow them to drive the train when our purpose on the earth should be driving us in what we do? They pop up. I talked about that earlier. We get triggers, things happen. They pop up, bring them with you. Bring them with you. That's just like in prayer. You ever been in prayer and crazy thoughts pop up? Okay. You want to distract me? Come on with me. I'm telling you, they can't stay there long. When we're in prayer and talking to God, honestly talking to God and worshiping God, having a conversation with God, listening for God, listening to God, those distractions through thoughts cannot stay. They may come up again, but I've noticed that the more that we contend with them as they try to contend with us in different ways, whether we bring them along and let our witness, let our mobility and our forward movement in Christ be a thing, let me tell you, they have less influence over us. And we find ourselves spending less time in the, being down. And I believe it's the doldrums. I'm really sleepy right now, so I don't want to mispronounce it. But, really down and in a dark place, we spend less time there. When we make a decision, okay, you want to pop up, you want to remind me of what I did or what happened to me, how I'm less than a person, because those thoughts are never empowering. If you notice, they are never empowering. They are all about condemnation, guilt, shame, never forward movement, never. So bring them with you. Okay, I'm in Bible study. Come on with me. Come on with me. I'm in prayer. Come on with me. I'm having my devotions. Come on with me. I'm telling you, they don't stay long. Before you know it, they are gone. It's no guarantee that they won't come back. Their consistency is not, they become actually inconsistent in appearance. The more that we fight them with godly weaponry. All right. So forgetting is, I'm not saying go around trying to forget. That's a hard one to fight unless your brain is just inactive. We thank God our brain is active. We don't always like the thoughts that are intrusive, because they are. They're intrusive, invasive, but it's our brain. It's alive, and it has information, and then sometimes it's all over the place. It's for us to learn to manage, and that's a daily thing. So don't beat yourself up on that either, that you forgot, or you didn't. You succumb to the thoughts, and you listen to what was said, and you continue to play over and over in your head that offense. Give yourself some grace, as I talked about earlier in this series. Give yourself some grace, all right? Yeah, so just managing your thoughts is a process as well, all right? And you can win this. You really can. All right, so that's it for tonight. Gonna move forward. Oh my God, day 9. Can you believe it? Day 9 is coming up. 12 days of forgiveness have been moving extremely fast. Once again, if you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, or sessions with me, I like to have at least 3 with individuals, so that we can really look at your progress and just really monitor how you're moving. Well, first of all, here's the website here, www.Stephannie ersolomon.com. All right. So give me a call or email. All the information is right there, and I'll be glad to support you in your journey of forgiveness. And by the way, I also work with personal development as well as family relations. But this week we're centering on forgiveness. All right. All right. So, folks, have a wonderful, wonderful